or no, a government official, because if you give it over to a civilian, then there's special interest. He could pocket, but if you have a government officer doing it, that'd be a lot better. That he basically organizes and says, all right, well, who's more deserving of the land, or who wants the land in first bid contract, which would be absolutely crazy. God. But the U.S. government could make so much money. Because think about it, if there was prime real estate, you would pay the government for it, and yeah, that's how the U.S. government could pull itself out of debt, because they're also going to be paying so much money to these people to get the land in the first place, and then all the billions of dollars to upgrade it. But I mean, then we get it back, and they get it back from the people, the consumers. But yeah, just imagine you could have just a nice neighborhood that's all government built, all government standards too, so it's safe. And that could be the way it is, but people would fear that because they're like, the government's trying to take control, or it's big government. And yeah, it's kind of big government, but at the same time, why not? Why not have the government do things that would make things healthier for us, for everybody? And if the government, if something else is that, you don't see too many government officials saying, we need to cut back on gas, because then that would demand so many sacrifices and different changes by the people, American people, that, and we're like, no, we can't, but it's like you just have to have a charismatic enough leader to get up there and say, look, this is why we need to do it, okay? It's going to make these people healthy. It's going to make you happy. It's going to keep you safe. It's going to keep your family safe. It's like I would like a community where the police station was the police and fire department were centrally located, where, I could just walk down the street, hop on public conveyance, that's free even, go anywhere I need to. I had this other idea that, and then, it would get to the point, if you follow this sort of train of logic, that if they reorganized the way the landscape was shaped, then they might further go on and to the point where, like, they can track everybody. Because you can imagine that in these new environments, you could have Wi-Fi, internet service, and it's all paid for by the government. The government would realize, internet is something that should be, it's a very democratizing force, therefore it's free to everybody. Therefore, here you go, everybody, free internet. Oh my God, I can imagine that. So there's Wi-Fi everywhere as well. So that would probably even eliminate cell phone needs or whatever. But like to a degree, it would get to the point where, like, you don't need cell phone signal or specific tower, because you can communicate through the internet. Everything is done through, because there's a Wi-Fi signal everywhere. Which I kind of wonder if that would affect, health and creating tumors and stuff like that. Because if you got electricity in the air, that's a lot more radiation. That's something to worry about. But just imagine. And it's like, that way everybody can communicate. But the next thing is that, well, then everybody, they might start tracking the population. And in such a case, you can see protests, and a guy who put like a little a tag in his ear, to say, like, I'm not a cow, or this is what I look like to you, the U.S. government, this and that. But what would be interesting, or a good way, neat thing about that is because, well, then you could, you can make it non-invasive, non-evasive. It's like you only need to access it when you need to. But of course there would be hackers, but U.S. government's pretty good about, hacking, not letting themselves get hacked. But you could track where everybody's at. If there was a crime, if somebody disappeared especially, you would know where they went, and if someone was like, well, I was attacked, or I was, this or that happened, or somebody robbed me, you'd know who robbed you. And so in a way, it would keep everybody, safer. So that's one argument for it. If there was a way to track everybody in the world, in the country at least, the biggest argument would be like, what? Everybody would be safe. Because everybody is on the honor system by that point. But it's like, there's no way you could fool them, whatever machine, whatever, into not knowing that you went to such and such a place and took things from them. Because like, oh, you were here at this time. We don't need a camera. We know exactly who was here. And if not, well, it's not an American citizen who's there. So it's another thing, but it's a whole other spiel. But yeah, I think it's kind of weird, but at the same time, think about it. It could be beneficial. But the other way to be beneficial is we could track everybody's income. And U.S. government could track everybody's income. U.S. economy, U.S. government could know where the money is. And you know what that's good for? It would keep people from scamming each other. And businesses that have false money, and in particular counterfeit. There's a lot of counterfeit money floating around because the U.S. is good currency in a lot of countries. So a lot of counterfeit money is generated. And when you have too much money, guess what? That deflates the value of the dollar. So when people talk about it, it's because, all these countries are making counterfeit bills. So, by going to more electronic money transfers, there is that slight risk of people hacking into it, but it's a lot easier to control where money goes. And who knows, the U.S. government might get to the point where, they actually attach a serial number to every cent, which would be really, really bizarre, but I think you could, if you had a big enough computer, I think, that could be done, which is insane calculations when you think about it, because, how do you track every cent? But, literally, you would know where every electronic and where every physical cent is, man. But if there was, guess what? You would know, you'd have an alarm that goes off automatically whenever a counterfeit bill enters the system. Because, you imagine let's get to the point every dollar had a little serial number on it, or a little, electronic pattern pad that, the U.S. government could track. So that's what, that's the next step in cash registers probably, and, money, is that there would be, this huge computer that could track every cent in the United States. The dollar had some sort of, either as a pattern or a, because there's that little strip in the $20 bills. There was something some strip like that, but it was something that, once you fed the dollar into a machine, the machine scans it and confers with the U.S. government. And, U.S. government machine says, this is a valid bill. So, get rid of counterfeits. So I'm saying, which would be, really wrap up those people. But at the same time, it would also force people to deal income-wise legit. Very little under the hand. And even so, if it was under the hand, well, it would be accepted in some cases because, just some people don't have the means to understand taxes or to realize, this is a full-time employee. So, and it's just and some people also say, look, man, I just need some extra money. So, you would understand that, and that's not, so it's not the point to, say, hey, buddy, you're not, making money. Because the other advantage to this, to tracking all this money, people would be taxed fairly, especially rich, the really rich people and this and that. So that, and it would help them too because they have to give so much money to charity, so they don't, to help with their taxes. And so if every cent is tracked, then guess what? They know how much money they need to give to the government. Everybody does. You don't need IRS anymore. You just, you have a personal thing delivered to you, hand delivered to you by a government agent, saying this is your bill to the U.S. government for everything it does to you. And guess what? That probably promotes socialized medicine too, because it's everybody knows exactly what their worth is or what their value is for the U.S. government, or what the U.S. government's worth to them. And it's and the U.S. government, because they realize they deal in populations, not individuals. They can say, there's going to be some people who they need some serious medical help, and the U.S. government would be able to look at it all and say, okay, we have so much of a population that can't get these certain medical bills or pay for these certain medical bills because of, they're only so poor. And there's another part of the population that can afford these medical bills. And what it would do is, it would just balance it out, in a weird way, which would kind of suck for rich people, but it would really help the poor people, and guess what? It would all be fair. And everybody would accept that, too. Because they realize, well, I have a bit more means, and my bit more means is being taken out to help support somebody of lesser means. But you know what? Without that person of lesser means, stuff like picking up trash alongside the road, somebody feeding me, at a restaurant, some guy cooking a meal for me, some teacher who taught my kid. It's you got to realize, people that need medicine is everybody. And that's why, some countries like Canada and Britain, they have socialized medicine, and they're pretty happy.